Harry!
Hello?
Howdy, neighbor. You aiming to see me? The name's Baines, Scattergood Baines.
Oh, glad to know you, Mr. Baines. I'm Dunker Gilson.
Did you say Dunker?
Mm-hmm. Rhymes with bunker.
Mm-hmm. That's right, good neighbor. Be you selling something?
No, I'm a newspaper man. I just bought the Cold River Weekly Citizen.
Oh.
Where will I find it?
Well, the last time I seen it, it was still standing down the street a piece. Anytime you feel neighborly, you're welcome to drop in and set a spell.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Baines. I'll give you a plug my first issue. Make you famous.
Uh-huh. It's mighty kind of you, neighbor.
Hey, anybody here? Hey.
Ain't nobody in.
I'm in.
Well, you can go out again. Nothing doing here.
That's an understatement. You know who owns this layout?
Well, grandfather did, but he left town. He swapped this property for a hunk of land owned by some nitwit that didn't know he was getting the worst of the bargain.
That's me, Dunker Gilson.
Huh? Is that your real name?
Yeah, it kind of frightens me, too.
I'm Leif Allen.
Oh, glad to know you, Leif. What do you do around here?
I set the type, run the press, roll the paper, write the editorials. When the editor is a courting or too drunk to tend to his duties.
You know, you could be fired for talking to your boss that way.
You can't fire me.
No, why can't I?
Look at that press.
What's holding it together?
Mustard plaster. Ain't nobody can run that thing except me.
You know, in spite of my better judgment, Leif, I think I'm going to like you. How much do I pay you?
I know what you'll pay, but I suppose I'll take what's left, Benny.
I don't think I can lose on that deal.
Howdy, Scattergood.
Figured I'd better come over and subscribe for that new paper. Don't want to miss that plug you're going to give me.
Oh, thanks, Mr. Baines. See there, Leif? Business picking up already under the new management.
You calculate you can make a citizen pay its own way?
If I can't, I've been robbed by a school of journalism. I spent 3 years there trying to find out what makes a daily newspaper tick.
Citizen's a weekly.
It'll be a daily before I'm through with it. Now, if you'll excuse me, Mr. Baines, I'm going out and get some news.
No need to go. Just hang on to Scattergood. All the news and gossip in Cold River sieve right through his store. Mr. Baines is head of the county council, chairman of the realty board, president of the bank, owns a pulp and lumber mill, and operates 29 miles of railroad.
I was going to make you famous.
No, just got my hand in a few things to keep from going to seed.
Hey, say, that'll make a great story for my first issue. The story of your success in Cold River.
Hold on there, son. People around here already know all they want to about me. You tell them something they don't know, then maybe you could sell some papers.
What, for instance?
Well, the biggest topic of gossip now in this town is the Quinton sisters. A couple of spinsters worth millions live up on the hill north of town. If you could go up there and find out why those two gophers ain't been out of their hole in 20 years, then you'd have something.
Say, what'd you say that name was?
Quinton. Quentin.
Pardon me, are you,
I'm Mrs. Grimes, the housekeeper. What do you want?
I'm the proprietor of the Weekly Citizen. I'd like
Don't take newspapers here.
Well, I'm not asking you to subscribe. I'd just like to talk with the Mrs. Quentin.
They never see anyone.
Think it'll be tight?
I think it'll fit our dear just right.
It'll stretch you, mite.
Right.
beg your pardon. Nice day, isn't it?
Thursday? Yes. Thank you for reminding us.
Don't mention it. I like Thursdays.
Do you? Something wrong with that young man?
Decidedly odd.
Am I right in supposing you're the Quentin sisters?
I'm Cynthia. I'm Lydia. We don't look at all alike, do we?
Well, no. I should say you're each very individual. Very charming.
Well, I never.
Caution, Cynthia.
Yes, Lydia?
I didn't mean to be forward. It's just that I'm impulsive. Do you mind if I visit for a while?
Well,
Remember, it's Thursday, Cynthia.
yes, Lydia, of course.
Something wrong with Thursday?
That's none of your business. Look here, young man. You shouldn't roam.
Goodbye, young man. We're not at home.
Guess I picked the wrong day.
If Matilda's awake, we'll see if it fits.
Dear Matilda. Sweet Matilda. Still asleep?
What's you dreaming about, itty bitty child?
Naughty, naughty.
She's cross with us, 'cause we disturbed her nap.
I will speak to you ladies about Matilda. There's something decidedly wrong with her. She's not taking her food any too well, and she scratched me again this morning. She's becoming positively vicious.
Vicious? Oh, really, Mrs. Grimes, I couldn't let...
Oh, dear. What can it be?
We'll find out soon enough. I've arranged to take her to a veterinarian.
You have?
Without consulting us?
Simply has to be done. You wouldn't want Matilda to get worse, would you?
Oh, dear. Can't the doctor come here?
The appointment's already been made. I can't change it now. Of course, I expect you ladies to come with me.
We leave this house?
You know we never go out.
I won't take the responsibility alone. If anything happened to Matilda, you never forgive me. You must come along.
Cynthia, for dear Matilda's sake, couldn't we just this once?
It's most unusual. But if we must...
It's only just.
I'll get the carriage ready. Oh, excuse me. I forgot to lock the door.
There's something decidedly odd about Mrs. Grimes lately. Haven't you noticed it?
Quite.
Right.
Hiya, Tom. The Quentin's been hold out yet? The Quentin's, Ken? I wish I was. No. Just happened to be Sam Caldwell of the Providence Journal.
Don't believe a word he says, mister.
Hey, look.
And as for him, he'll be Collins of the Atlantic Syndicate. But between you, they're just a couple of mashers that followed me from the depot.
But enough, sister. The fact is, this little gypsy tried to make a play for me on the train coming down here. She's a fraud, posing as Gail Barkley of the Boston News Service. Get a load of that face. I've got it on good authority that the real Barkley is good looking.
You said it. Well, let's now, hold on. Can't go inside. Can't let nobody in. That's my orders.
Whose orders?
Sorgate.
Well, where's the surrogate? I'll talk to him.
He phoned an hour ago about his car breaking down on the road, and I ain't heard from him since.
And the air's showing up yet?
They're all inside. The house is bulging with Quintons.
Cousin Selma, if the house should be left to you, could I come and live here?
Oh, Phoebe, you can have the house. All I want is the silverware and a lovely old painting up in the attic.
Oh, you've been to the attic?
Mm-hmm. I took just a teeny-weeny little peep.
That surrogate's made me miss the last train for Benusker. Now I've got to spend the night in this house.
We all will. And incidentally, Matthew, I know you haven't spoken to Thaddeus in over 15 years, but don't you think at a time
I've
like
nothing
this...
to say to Thaddeus, now or any other time.
Matthew.
Well,
Authentic sailor. Pretty valuable.
Oh, yes. Everything in the house is so rich in family tradition. Thaddeus,
Huh?
if you should inherit the house, could I come and live here?
I'm afraid not, Phoebe. I'd sell it.
Mr. Kingsley, these folks have been waiting to see you. Are you members of the Quentin family?
Well, I'm a distant cousin.
Me too.
Yeah, and I'm related on the distaff side.
No, they ain't, sir. They're out-of-town reporters. Come down for the reading of the will. Reporters? I made no arrangement to have reporters present.
Oh, we make
I'm sorry.
Wait a minute, John. Here's as though the county has a duty to the press.
I can't bring this army into the house.
I see your point. How about letting one of them in? Then he could share his story with the rest of them.
Well, if you say so, Scattergood. Question is, which one?
Oh, wait a minute. I reckon seniority of position ought to decide who's to represent the rest.
That's me.
What do you mean, you?
What makes you so hot?
You're reporters. I'm an editor.
Editor of what?
This, the finest paper in the county. Free to members of the press.
A country weekly.
It'll be a daily soon.
Yeah, a weekly daily.
Shall we go, Mr. Kingsley?
Come again, Scattergood?
No, I gotta be getting. See you later.
See you later.
Well,
How do you like a yokel like that? Let's make a break.
Yeah,
wait a minute. I said you can't go in.
Don't you listen, I'll make a deal with you. I'll take a walk now, you take a walk.
Yeah, wait a minute. Here, for the sheriff, a good, clear Havana cigar.
Gee, thanks.
Will you take a walk with me?
Now, hold on. I ain't going to have any joshing. Sit down and make yourself uncomfortable. And in the absence of a will, you folks will be in line for the inheritance in the following order. First, Mr. Thaddeus Quentin. In the event of his death, this money would pass on to Miss Phoebe Quentin. And just who is Lloyd Quentin?
Lloyd was my brother.
Yes, he was Lydia's and Cynthia's favorite until he...
I'm sure that Mr. Kingsley doesn't want Lloyd's biography. Enough to say that he went off to sea and hasn't been heard from since.
Well, after that comes Mr. Rolfe Quentin. Next in line would be Miss Selma Quentin.
Peasant!
And in the event that all of the aforementioned Quentins are deceased, the entire estate would become the property of Mr. Matthew Quentin.
And I put my drugstore into the hands of a new assistant just to hear that.
Of course, you understand that what I have said is all based on the contingency that the Quentin sisters left no will. But the deceased did leave a will.
What was she left to me?
Give me your attention. I shall read it. Some people leave their money to relatives and friends. Some leave it to sweet charity and other odds and ends. And before we make this testament, we gave the matter thought so that every single penny would go where it really ought. Now, there's one we love the most, and we're very sure of that. So we leave our entire fortune to Matilda, our darling cat. Please, quiet. That isn't all.
Oh, you mean to say there's more?
Another bit. And to make sure Matilda's happy in the bestest possible way, Mrs. Grimes will take care of her at $50 a day.
Well, now
I will not allow it. This is illegal. It's a perfectly legal document. The signatures are authentic. Absolutely acceptable in the eyes of the law.
Oh, after I've worked my fingers to the bone teaching school, you'd have thought Lydia and Cynthia would have left me just a little.
It's a queer world. Nothing between me and 2 millions but a cat.
Pardon me. I have a lot of work to do. I hope you'll find your rooms comfortable.
Here comes the dinner.
What's the dope?
Dope. Okay, Brisbane, let's have it.
What'd you find out?
Well, here's the whole thing in a nutshell. They left their entire fortune to a cat.
Huh?
Oh, quit the stalling. Give us the yarn.
That's your idea of comedy.
It's the truth. The cat inherits everything.
What's the idea? You trying to keep the yarn for yourself?
Don't you believe me?
Can't squeeze vanilla out of a turnip. Come on, let's check with Kingsley.
That's only.
Now, wait a minute. I said you can't go in.
Oh, you still here?
Hello. Mind giving me a lift into town?
Hey, look out. You always hitch rides like that?
This is a special case. Confidentially, is that yarn true?
Absolutely.
You wouldn't fool me.
Absolutely. I mean, why should I?
Well, it's been done to beat competition.
Well, I'm not competing with you, and there's no point in my trying to scoop you.
Well, that's right, but don't say scoop. In professional lingo, it's a beat or an exclusive.
Thank you. Nothing like being professional. I'll remember that.
Now, how about that yarn?
Well, what's the use if you're going to doubt my word?
Look, by the holy writ of O.O. McIntyre, from now on your word is gospel. Is that okay?
Okay.
Shoot.
Well, there was Matilda the cat. 5 relatives were there, all Quentins. Thaddeus, Phoebe, Rolf, Matthew, and Selma.
Oh, listen. I can't write in this puddle jumper.
Well, let's wait till we get back to the office. I'll finish it up there.
Well, thanks. I'd appreciate that. Say, I covered an insurance convention the other day, and I found out that more people are killed from motor accidents than from slipping in bathtubs.
Well, I guess I better keep my eyes on the road, huh? But it isn't easy.
Awful noise.
I thought it was one of my nightmares.
Sounded like it came from there.
Thaddeus.
What's happened? Anything wrong with Thaddeus?
He's dead. He's been clawed.
Mrs. Grimes,
We've got to see you.
What is it?
Open the door, Mrs.
Something
Ryan.
terrible has happened.
we're going to phone the police.
Mrs. Grimes.
18 years I've been waiting for a murder. At last I got one. Yes, sirree. Soon as I crack this case, ain't nothing going to stop me from being nominated to the bench.
Now, don't race your motor, Joe.
I got your message, Mr. Baines. Thanks for the tip.
I'm Sheriff Tompkins, and this is Dr. Shep at the coroner. How do you do? Did anybody touch the body?
No, it's just where they found him.
What's the door note? Don't let anyone leave the house.
It's upstairs. The bedroom door is open.
Oh, them visiting reporters are staying over at the commercial house. Reckon you ought to notify them. It'd be only fair.
All right, sir. Good idea. May I use the phone, please?
This way.
Just how did he die, Mrs. Grimes?
Couldn't say.
Someone here phoned the sheriff and said it was murder.
Whoever did that was hysterical.
And you don't think it was murder?
It isn't for me to say. Here's the telephone.
Thank you.
Well, it appears to me that...
Well, it's murder, all right. The deceased died of poison.
Poison?
Yes.
But the wound on his neck looked like he was clawed.
The discoloration around the wound indicates poison. Of course, it could have been caused by an animal's paw dipped in venom. I'll know better after the autopsy.
Venom. Just as I thought. What's venom?
Never mind that, Joe. Get him downstairs and start grilling.
Of course. Just what I was thinking. Come on, folks. I want you all downstairs. I'll get to the bottom of this right away.
I reckon that's about all, neighbors. Now, if you'll just all cooperate by answering Sheriff Tompkins' questions, you'll all get back to sleep the sooner.
Now?
Now. Now.
Now, according to my deduction, the guilty party is in this house. Now, whoever it might be, might as well own up to it right now. It'll be easier with you. Come on. Nobody's going to leave this room until I get a confession from the murderer.
Well, Joe, according to the coroner, an animal's claws figured in this, maybe. You could start on that.
Oh, yes, of course. Just what I was thinking. What kind of an animal?
There's a cat in this house.
A vicious cat.
Vicious? I don't like cats. Of course, that's my personal feeling. So we can dispose of that theory. Now, I got a different notion. I want you to all stick out your hands. I want to take a good look at them. Biting your nails at your age. What have you got there?
Oh, does it matter?
Come on.
Snuff.
Snuff? We'll see.
Sheriff, I want to make the morning train for Bernusker.
You will.
Thanks for the call.
This case.
Joe, you'll never solve this case with sneezing powder.
Now, where was I?
About a mile off. You better get back to the cat's claws.
Why, Tilly has claws.
Tilly who? Does she live here?
That's short for Matilda.
Who's Matilda?
It's the cat left in my care by the Quentin sisters.
Yes, if it wasn't for that cat, we'd have come into all that money.
Was you all the share alike?
No. Thaddeus first, and then Phoebe.
Who's Phoebe?
I am. Surely you don't think that...
How do you expect me to think with all them names? Matilda, Phoebe, Rolf, Tilly.
Hold on, Joe. You better shift into neutral. Mrs. Grimes, would you mind bringing that cat in here?
I'm afraid I can't. Matilda's disappeared.
Who's Matilda?
I just told you, the cat.
I thought it was Tilly.
Mrs. Grimes, when did you first miss the cat? Can you say?
When I woke and heard the scream.
You didn't hear a scream, Mrs. Grimes. At least that's what you said when we woke you up.
Why,
So you contradict yourself. Come on, Mrs. Grimes. You might as well confess.
Now, go slow, Joe. You're getting ahead of yourself. Now, we don't want to accuse you of nothing, Mrs. Grimes. What we want to know is about that cat. Had that animal ever disappeared before?
Never?
Why is it missing now?
I know. Somebody got rid of it.
Phoebe Quentin had more reason than anyone else to get rid of Mr. Thaddeus and the cat.
Why, of course. Phoebe, that way you'll get the inheritance.
Selma, how dare you?
Oh, Phoebe, dear, why don't you say yes to make it all go to sleep?
I see the whole thing now. You inherit the money and...
Oh, slow down for the crossing, Joe. Appears as though you better find the cat first.
I've searched the premises. There's no sign of the cat.
I never did like cats to begin with. After this, I'm going to hate them all like Tonkin.
Ah, here they all are. Looks like we're just in time. We just got word something hot was popping up here. What is it?
Who are you?
That's all right, Joe. They're newspaper man.
Where's the stiff?
Just get over there and behave yourself, Bob.
What a windfall. I was so anxious to get out of town, I was ready to hitchhike.
Boy, I'll get a bonus for this. What do you got here now?
Who's talking?
Sorry, Hawkshaw. I'm just trying to catch up here.
My name ain't Hawkshaw. It's Josephus, Bunnington Tompkins. Bunnington spelt with one B. I have a new photograph of myself. You can come down to my office, I'll give you one of them, and you can print it. Now, where was I?
Still thinking, Sheriff.
Of course, I was thinking. Now, what was I thinking about? Fine manners sleeping in company.
He's dead. He's dead, and it's all my fault.
So, you're the one that...
Oh, I was dreaming. Here, where you going? I've got to phone my assistant. I just thought of something. I've got to fill up a prescription for Harry Rogers.
Harry Rogers? Who's he?
He's one of my customers in Vinoska, and he'll die if he doesn't get this medicine right away, and it'll be my fault. Oh, please, Sheriff, it's very urgent.
Let him go, Joe.
Now, where was I? Now, don't tell me I was thinking, because I wasn't thinking nothing.
Good gracious, such grammar.
What's the matter with it?
Only one thing. It's intolerable.
Now, look here, Miss School Teacher. You ain't going to sidetrack me by no lesson in grammar.
And a half a grain of arsenic. A half a grain at the most. Any more than that could be fatal. Could kill him. Pretty bad, huh? Well, things are going to pick up very soon. I'll have nothing to worry about. Now, be sure, tell no one that I'm out of town.
What? Mr. Bell, as a druggist, you probably know quite a bit about poisons.
Well, Come on. Yes. Since I get all the estate after killing Thaddeus, Phoebe, Rolf, Selma, and Mrs. Grimes, I've got quite a busy time ahead.
Just a minute. You could be in cahoots with Phoebe. You furnishing the chemicals.
You mean poisons, don't you?
Yes, poisons. And she's splitting with you.
How dare you?
Sit down. Phoebe Quinton, it appears you had the most to gain by the death of Thaddeus. And you were powerful anxious to take up your residence in this house. First you asked Thaddeus, then Selma.
Stop prying into my personal affairs. All right, so I asked all of them if I could come and live here. For years I've lived in boarding rooms and unfriendly surroundings. All my life I hoped and dreamed that someday I'd be the mistress of my own house. A home with decent comfort.
And with Thaddeus out of the way, this house would be your own, wouldn't it?
Oh.
Your homicidal tendencies came to the fore.
My what?
Catch her, look out, she's going to...
Oh, bring some water, quick! Oh.
She's all right.
Oh.
Oh, no, I'm all right.
Looks pretty bad for Phoebe. Well, I'll be seeing you.
It's an open and shut case. I'll clean it up before daylight.
Before daylight?
Yes, daylight.
That's what I thought you said.
Can I give you a lift home, Miss Barkley?
Well,
I'm sorry, Sonny. You're a little too late. Gail and I decided it's a nice night for walking. Good night.
thanks just the same.
Son, courting is just like voting at the polls. You got to get there early if you don't want to stand in line. You'll find that right good soap, Mrs. Newberry.
Thanks. Taste the soap I care about, Scattergood. I'm saving the wrappers for one of them contests.
Good night.
Good night.
Oh, Hep. Yes? When you get through delivering the Quinton groceries, you can go right home. I'm going to lock up very soon.
Yes.
Are you sure you take them in the house?
Yes.
No, couldn't I just leave him on the porch and ring the bell and run?
No, Hep. Take them in the kitchen.
In the kitchen? I guess I will. I'll go.
Evening, miss. Anything I can do for you?
I just stopped in to thank you, Mr. Baines.
Can't think what for.
I happen to know it was you who arranged to call us in last night.
Oh, that. Pardon me, miss. Baines Hardware Store. Oh, it's you, Dunker.
I spent the whole day trying to see the sheriff, but he wouldn't see anybody. You heard from him, Mr. Baines?
No, I reckon he's kind of hiding his face. What with not being able to solve the case by daylight like he said he would. Oh, Dunker, I've got that angle iron you ordered. You know, the one you wanted in such a dither?
Angle iron? I didn't order any angle iron, Mr. Baines.
Yep, I got it right here. I don't know how I'm going to get it over to you, though, right now, Hip being out.
I never ordered any such thing. I don't even know what an angle iron is.
Yeah, that's right. Well, seeing as how you can't leave the shop right now, look around and see if I can't find somebody to bring it over to you.
Mr. Baines.
You can depend on it, Dunker. Now, goodbye.
If I can be of any help, Mr. Baines,
Oh, I couldn't think of troubling you.
I'm passing by Mr. Gilson's shop anyway, and if that iron isn't too heavy, I'll be glad to take it.
Well, it's just this here little gadget here.
Oh, I can manage that.
Oh, thank you very kindly, miss.
Good night, Mr. Baines.
Good night.
Oh, hello, Miss Barkley. This is a surprise.
Barclay Messenger Service. Through sleet and storm, the customer always gets his angle iron. What's it for?
Well, it's for the, it's something Leif ordered. Oh, Leif.
Huh?
Hey, here's that thingamajig you ordered.
Me?
Yeah, you know, to replace the one you said was busted.
I said.
Oh, don't stand there gawking, Leif. Get busy at it.
I never ordered nothing.
Well, won't you come in and sit down, Miss Gale?
Thank you.
Oh, Gale, I've never met anybody by that name up until now.
Well, you're the first person I've met named Dunker.
Oh, that's just a nickname my family gave me for dunking my food when I was a kid.
Kind of cute. And it's stuck to you ever since?
Sort of hung on. Hey, swell out tonight, isn't it?
Oh, it's a lovely summer's evening.
Certainly is. You like to walk, don't you?
Well, I enjoy it.
Saw you through the windows I was passing.
Hi, Greeley.
Hello.
So this is the works, huh? There's the outfit. Rotary presses, rolling out extras, linotype machines, hammering away, city desk pile up with scoops. How do you manage it all?
Oh, it is a terrific load, especially when people drop in for small talk.
Oh, did I interrupt something personal?
Very personal. So if you don't mind dropping in another time, I'd be glad to take you around on a personal tour of the plant.
Okay by me, Dunk. That date's still on, I hope.
See you at 8 o'clock, Wallace.
You, have a date with that guy every night?
Hardly.
Oh, how about me?
Well, I expect to leave tomorrow.
I'd offer you a job if I thought I'd keep you here.
Well, thanks just the same, but I've made other plans. Like yourself, for instance. You want to turn this paper into a daily and make it something worthwhile. And you'll do it, too, if you stick to the idea and want it bad enough. Now, I started as an ad clerk, but my eye was always on that city room. I was going to get there. And I did, too, by cracking a big story on my own in my spare time. Still wasn't what I wanted. I'm after a column of my own, and I'll get it, too, see if I don't.
Good evening. Good evening. Sorry I couldn't see any of your reporters today. Had a lot in my mind. Figuring out the Quentin killer. Here's that photograph I promised you.
Oh, Leif.
Now, mind you, credit nice and big. I'm going right up to Quentin house and arrest Mrs. Grimes.
Mrs. Grimes?
You mean it was she who...
Yes, got new evidence that warrants her arrest. Got it talking to Dr. Platt, the horse doctor. He said the day that the Quentin sisters was killed, Mrs. Grimes was to bring him the cat for treatment. That got me thinking. Them Quentin sisters ain't been out of the house in 20 years. What made them want all of a sudden? I'll tell you. Mrs. Grimes lured them into that carriage and fixed it so the horses ran away.
Mr. Baines know about this?
No, the store's closed for the night. I can't stop to look for him. I'm going right up and make Mrs. Grimes confess.
Wait a minute, Sheriff. I'll take you.
Thanks. It'll save my tires.
Come on, Gail. Oh, I forgot. You've got a date.
I've got a date with you and the sheriff right now. Business before pleasure.
Now, come on back, Matilda. Come on back. There's a good girl. Come here. Come on.
Well, I heard it. Well, I heard a report sound just like a balloon bursting.
Open the door, Miss Grimes. Give me a hand.
All right. Now, look at that. Can you beat it? Leaving that front door wide open. Everything goes wrong unless I'm right here. Now, where's Newt? Newt!
But I tell you, I heard a report. It sounded just like a balloon bursting.
All right, lady. I heard a balloon busting. Hey, Newt! That's the sheriff. Now, nobody touch nothing. All me, Joe? What's the idea of leaving that front door wide open?
Well, I was...
I'll do the talking. Tell Mrs. Grimes I want to see her. I'll show you how I work.
Now, that ain't going to be easy, Sheriff.
Now, you bring Mrs. Grimes here if you have to carry her.
That's about the only way she will come. Mrs. Grimes is dead.
Dead? She killed herself to cheat the law.
No, Sheriff. She was clawed to death like Thaddeus was.
What? I'll crack this case wide open if it takes me all night. Come on, wake up, wake up! Now we're starting all over again. Stop snoring. What's the matter with you?
I don't snore.
See who that is, Newt? I know one thing. Somebody's murdering by the wholesale, so they'll get in line for the Quinton estate.
All I know is I missed another train to Bernuska.
Morning, Sheriff.
Good morning.
I hear Mrs. Grimes doesn't live here anymore.
Ah, very funny. Another crack out of you and I'll throw you out.
Did we miss anything?
No, but we did.
You mean I'm supposed to go?
Go on.
What's coming off?
The sheriff can't find an answer to his $64 question. Who killed Mrs. Grimes?
I know it was one of you, but you're all sticking to phony alibis.
There's nothing phony about mine. I told you I was listening to a musical program on the radio.
Yes, and you don't know what station it was. Nobody else heard the radio but you. And you were asleep. Sleeping at 7:30 p.m. Wasn't you?
Horrible grabber.
Now, don't start that again.
I was the one who was asleep.
Then why wasn't your bed mud?
Because I was asleep in a chair. I woke up when I heard...
I know, busting balloons.
Maybe it was a shot.
That's right. She hears all kind of things. Voices, shots, balloons. Maybe Mrs. Grimes is clawed by a busting balloon. And you were writing a letter for your alibi.
That's right.
Same dialogue every show.
And the letter vanished in thin air.
Maybe I chewed it up and swallowed it.
And maybe you didn't.
That letter belongs to me.
Hey, hear noise. This is mine. Oh, yeah, sit down. Sit down. My dear. Things are breaking for me better than I expected. Before the will was read, Phoebe and I agreed that whichever one of us inherited the property would share it with each other. Now that Thaddeus is dead...
Why, Phoebe!
Fine way to treat the family.
Well, I've only written the truth.
Truth is right. This letter shows motive.
But take it easy, Sheriff, before you start accusing people.
Hip was Jackson? No, sir, he ain't here. No, sir, I tell you, Hip was Jackson don't work here. Yes, goodbye. Hip was Jackson, I never heard of it. Hip was Jackson. Let me see, that name sounds familiar. Hip Jackson, that's me. Hello? I was here now. Oh, he must have hung up. I'm getting so I don't know my own self.
Yep, son, if you could solve that case, it'd be a great thing for your paper. Now, if I was you, I'd start asking myself some questions. Maybe that balloon Selma heard busting was a shot.
I think it was.
Anyway, it's worth considering. Now, if it was a shot, maybe intended for the cat. Because that cat's worth more dead than alive to somebody. Still, there's no telling whether it's dead or alive because it's missing. That's the first thing for you to find out.
Think it might be in the house somewhere?
Well, you can't tell unless you look. Hip?
Yes, sir?
Hip's been delivering groceries up there for years. You know that Quinton house inside and out, don't you?
Yes, inside. Did you say the Quentin house, Mr. Baines?
Yep, Hip. Now, supposing you was to accompany Mr. Gilson up there after dark.
After dark?
It'd be a feather in your cap if you helped to find that cat.
Yes, Mr. Baines, but I don't crave no feather.
You're not afraid, are you, Hip?
No, sir. But I was mighty aloof when it comes to meeting cats with paws and claws.
Shucks, there's nothing to be afraid of. All right, we'll say you'll meet him there at midnight.
Pardon me, Mr. Baines, but I ain't the one for going out at night. I was a homebody. I is. And when midnight rolls around, this boy's going to be home where it belongs. You don't need me, Mr. Duncan. It's so dark down there you wouldn't be able to see me no more. So long.
Come on. Go ahead.
Oh. Don't shoot his hip. Me.
Strike a match, light this candle.
Yes. Look.
Hey. It's only a deer head.
Dead deer?
Of course it's dead. Stuffed.
Stuff that deer.
Hip. Look, this candlestick hasn't got any dust on it.
Is that good?
That means that somebody's been down here. Maybe the murderer.
That's bad.
Come back here, Hip.
Excuse me, Mr. Duncan. I was a homeboy. I guess.
Come on.
Oh. Excuse me. You don't expect to find no cat in that trunk.
Can't ever tell.
Quentin's. That is Phoebe, Matthew, Rolf, Selma. Must be Lloyd Quentin. Oh.
You look like you're going to a funeral, Hip.
Oh, thank you. Funeral? Mr. Duncan, I found the cat. Look like somebody done skinned the cat. We better get out of here before they skin us.
That's not cat skin. It's lynx.
Lynx, Jenks, I'm going.
There's a paw missing.
Me too.
Love. What are you doing here, Gail?
Isn't that a coincidence? I was just going to ask you that.
Well,
We're looking for a snoop.
I adore Snoops. Count me in.
You've got to get out of here. Do you realize there's a murder in this house?
I feel safe with you.
You're going to get out of here if I have to carry you.
Oh, you leave me alone or I'll crown you.
You want to wake up the whole house. All right, you want to stay here at your own funeral. Come on, Ed, we're leaving.
You don't have to urge me.
You wouldn't leave a lady in peril.
Wouldn't I?
Where are we going?
Upstairs to Mrs. Grimes' room.
You is, but I ain't. Maybe I is.
Oh, it's you. So you opened that cellar door. That's unlawful entry.
Mr. Baines didn't tell me.
What's Baines got to do with it?
Oh, nothing, nothing. I just wanted to get some local color for a story, and the only way I could get it was to Snoop, so
Never mind. Just don't try it again, or you'll be getting local color down in our jail. Come on.
The shot was fired. The bullet ought to be in this room, unless it hit somebody. I think that makes sense, Hip. What do you think?
I was thinking of something else.
What's that?
Let's go home.
Not until we've checked every inch of these walls. Start checking.
We're just wasting our valuable time. Ain't no use in these walls.
Where are you going, Miss Quentin?
Where would I be going at this hour? What? To bed, of course.
Mr. Duncan.
I found it.
It's kind of stuck in there.
If my hunch was right, it's the cat and he's deader than a doornail. We've got to get this cat out of here.
Uh-huh. What do you mean, we?
Who's in there?
Get the cat.
I ain't just no dead cat. Especially a black one.
Come on, speak up. This door wasn't bolted when I tried it last.
Come on, Mr. Duncan. Let's get out of here. I was having another preparation.
Have you notified the sheriff yet?
No, sir. I wanted to talk to you about it first.
Appears as though the fellow who shot that cat ain't sure whether he killed it or not. Else he'd have removed it from the premises. Now, if you could make him think that the cat was still alive, maybe he'd go after it again and show his hand, appears as though.
He might at that.
Come to think of it, that cat had a funny habit. He used to go out and sit on the porch every time Tony would drive past the gate.
Tony? Who's Tony?
Fish peddler. I calculate Tony'd collect cash every Friday, just as regular as the calendar.
Mr. Baines, tomorrow's Friday. If that cat were still alive, he might show up there just out of habit.
Habit's a powerful thing, son, even in a cat.
Hip?
Yes?
You and I are going to bring Matilda back to life.
Oh, Matilda?
Yes, sir.
You mean the cat?
Mr. Duncan, this is why I absolutely positively resigned, sir. This $10 cat look like $1 million now.
She's supposed to look like $2 million. Better touch her up a bit more. Now, Hip, you know what to say to the Quentins when you deliver those groceries?
Oh, yes. I could say it backwards.
Just let me hear you say it forwards.
Well, I was to go into the Quentin house and kind of spread around how the fish fella comes around every Friday. And then he throws the fish a cat.
That is backwards. Now, look, Hip. He throws the cat a fish. Can you remember that? He throws the Quentin cat a fish.
But this ain't the Quentin cat.
Oh, never mind that. If you'll just tell them what I've told you, I think Tony's fish horn will do the rest.
Yes.
Everything set, Tony?
Everything she's a okay. I remember what you say.
When you get to the house, blow your horn. And when you get to the gate, stop. You understand?
Oh, sure. Then I take a little fish and throw him to the cat and say, "Here, Matilly. Here, Matilly. Here." That's right, no?
That's right, yes. Here, Tony.
Ah, much thanks. Here, Matilly. Here, Matilly. Get out. Patsakaloo.
Not now, Kitty. I'll tell you when.
Oh, stop, Patsakaloo. Oh.
Oh, it's the fish man.
Here, Matilly. Here, Matilly.
You smell that fish? Wouldn't mind if I had a bit of fried catfish myself.
Here, Matilly. Here, Matilly.
See, Kitty? Go on, Kitty.
Hey there. That cat doesn't belong to you.
Oh, doesn't it? Well, I'll just keep it until the rightful owner calls for it.
Where you going?
After the cat. I've got to stop that fellow. He's no right.
Take it easy, Mr. Quentin. Cat or no cat, you can't leave this house. Them's my orders. Stop that, will you?
It's a swell job, Hip. So far, so good. Thank you, Mr. Duncan. What are you going to do with the cat now?
Bait a trap.
You mean catch a mouse for it?
Maybe. Maybe a rat.
Rat? Oh, he'd like that better.
Come on, Hip.
So decides to end all?
Publisher'd hang on if a certain girl reporter joined his staff.
I'm not a reporter. I graduated to a columnist. That's what I came to tell you.
Well, when did all this happen?
I just got this wire from my chief, and I start as soon as I wind up here.
Ah. The Woman's Corner by Gail Barclay. Hit the jackpot at last. Congratulations.
Thanks. You'd give a lot to solve that Quentin case, wouldn't you?
It certainly put my paper over with a bang.
This may add up to something. Don't touch the claws. I found it in the cellar last night.
So this is it. It adds up all right.
What's that?
Oh, just a mouse. Hey, fur's been eaten away. And poison, no doubt.
Sounds like a cat got that mouse.
Oh, just your imagination. Gail, don't you think you ought to get back to your hotel? It's awfully late.
No. It's the Quentin cat. You're holding out on me.
That's a decoy.
A decoy of what?
I had an idea that...
go.
Oh, please.
Let go.
Duncan, don't.
I'd have caught him if you hadn't stopped me.
Oh, you would, huh? Are you insane running out here trying to get yourself killed?
Why, Gail.
Oh, go fry an egg.
Did you know somebody tried to shoot Mr. Gilson last night?
Poppycock, what for?
The cat.
Hi, you Ben Franklin?
Ain't no Ben Franklin here.
Oh, he was a newspaper man, like you, sport. He also invented the lightning rod.
Well, if that's what you're selling, we don't need none.
We're not selling anything. I'm Ben Franklin, too. So is my pal here.
That's so. Come to think about it, I see your pictures on a postage stamp. You both look green.
Not bad, chum, not bad. Anybody call for the cat yet?
What cat?
You know the cat, Mr. Gilson.
Ouch! I got work to do. If there's anything you want to know, you can ask Mr. Gilson.
Sure, pal, but where'll we find him?
Don't know.
He went to see Mr. Baines.
Ouch! Well, thanks. So long, chum.
Mr. Leaf, did I do anything wrong?
Pretty near.
Excuse me. I gotta be getting.
Something Gail said the other day that came back to me, and I wired to check on it. I got that telegram in reply.
Sometimes you get ahead going backwards.
Mr. Baines, I think I could work out my theory if the sheriff doesn't interfere.
The sheriff's gone over to the county seat. Won't be back till late tonight. Tell you what I'll do, son. I'll phone Newt, his deputy, and make arrangements.
Gilson. I hear you ran into something last night.
Sure gets around.
Did you get a gander at the guy that took a shot at you?
It was dark.
Oh, look, chum. If you don't want to spill to us, that's your privilege. But as one newspaper man to another, give us a fair shake, will you? At least don't give that Barkley dame any information and leave us out in the cold. That's all we're asking. Why don't you get wise to yourself, Gilson? Gail Barkley's got printer's ink in her veins. She's not interested in you. She's only interested in what she can pump out of you.
Now, wait a minute.
Don't get sore, pal. We've run up against her kind before, and we're just trying to warn you.
Thanks. You guys just tend to your knitting, and I'll tend to mine.
Couldn't help overhearing a mite of your neighborly conversation. You think you two fellas could manage to get up to Quinton House tonight?
Quentin House? What's giving out?
A lot of smoke if the furnace is going. Anyway, you be there at 8 o'clock. And maybe Dunker here can show you that he ain't playing no favorites.
Okay, see you tonight then. That's fair enough.
And so, folks, I'll be much obliged to you if you'll just cooperate with Mr. Gilson here. Come on, son, take it over.
Thank you, Mr. Baines. Now, the first thing I'd like to take up is the question of the missing member of the Quentin family. I refer to Lloyd Quentin. I've checked on the fact that he was lost at sea many years ago, but what has been generally overlooked is the fact that he was survived by a child.
Lloyd!
Incidentally, can any of you tell me whether Lloyd's child was a boy or a girl?
Oh, it was a little girl.
Decidedly not. It was a boy.
Oh, now I distinctly remember a photograph.
And was wearing a dress.
But all children wore dresses at that time.
Why don't they make up their minds?
Hey, what is this, a quiz game?
Well, it doesn't matter. For the present, let's say that it was a boy.
Just a minute. If you think for a moment that Lloyd's child was in line for the inheritance, you're wrong. Lloyd was in disgrace with Lydia and Cynthia, and no offspring of his could ever expect to be remembered with favor by them.
Perfectly true. But as Lloyd's child grew up, he learned that the Quentin sisters abhorred lawyers, legal documents, and worldly matters of that kind. He therefore had good reason to believe that when they died, they would die intestate.
Interstate, did you say? Oh, that means going from one state to another?
No, Selma. The word is intestate. It means dying without leaving a will.
Oh, Phoebe. You're positive.
I guess I'd better take that snuff, ma'am. Keep things quiet around here.
But they did leave a will. At least that's what the surrogate called those Mother Goose rhymes.
Yes, and a very valid one. That's something the killer didn't bank on.
Oh, then you know who the killer is?
Yes. The killer's right here in this room.
In your room? I felt safe here. I demand protection.
Now, folks, just calm yourself. Sit you down, ma'am. You're just safe here as a yolk and an egg. Newt here will watch over you.
Don't you dare move from that spot.
Go ahead, son.
Incidentally, it was the killer who contrived the accident which caused the death of the Quentin sisters. He never dreamed, however, that they would leave their fortune to a cat. Being familiar with the ins and outs of the house, having played there as a child, the killer decided to eliminate all those who stood between him and the inheritance. Thaddeus was first. The killer using a technique which would throw suspicion on Mrs. Grimes.
Oh, that doesn't gel. If he wanted to throw suspicion on Mrs. Grimes, why did he kill her?
He really meant to kill the cat. It was Mrs. Grimes' misfortune to surprise him in the act, so he killed her.
Who? Who was it?
As a matter of fact, there isn't a single one of you here who didn't have a good incentive to kill that cat.
Some show. Gilson ought to be in a circus.
We're not getting anywhere fast. I'm going to take over. Say, why did you...
Sit down.
Oh, will I ever get back to Bernuska?
Come on, let's get on with the investigation. Go on, Ducker.
That brings us to the question of the missing cat and how it disappeared.
But you took that cat. What have you done with it?
The cat's right here in this house.
What?
Let me show you.
Now, take it easy. This cat won't hurt anybody.
Now, just relax, folks. This feline's just a harmless tabby.
Mr. Baines, you didn't seem to be afraid of the cat.
Shucks, no. I got sense enough to figure you ain't gonna let no cat out of the bag to run around scratching folks to death. But I reckon Mr. Collins felt the same way about it. You didn't seem scared none.
I was too bored to be scared. Why don't you quit playing games and give us a lowdown?
Mr. Collins is right. Now, if you'll just give me a minute of your time.
A rabbit's foot. What next?
No, Mr. Caldwell, that's a lynx paw. Now, if anyone should be scratched by this claw, even ever so lightly, we'll say like this, for instance.
Look out, that's poison.
Better lock him up, Newt.
Huh?
Find out how he knew it was poison.
Huh?
That's the gadget that did the killing. And that's Lloyd Quinton, Jr.
All right, so I am. And this gadget will kill the first one that tries to make a move. Drop that gun. Go in that door. Now, Mr. Duncher Gilson, I'm going to give it to you. Here.
Well, I'm the best shot in the county. That's what they tell me down at the shooting gallery. Newt, call the ambulance. We've got to get that fellow to the hospital.
But how'd you put your finger on Wally Collins in the first place?
I've got Gail Barkley to thank for that. She told me a real newspaperman never says scoop. Well, not long after that, I heard Wally using the word. That made me suspicious, so I wired the syndicate he's supposed to be working for. They wired back, said they never even heard of him. Well, Mr. Baines here figured out the rest.
Oh, shucks, son, that was nothing. Feels as though you're being scooped right now. Miss Barkley's going on the 9 o'clock train with that young Sam Caldwell. 8:45 now. That train ought to be leaving in about an hour. Yep, she's running all right. Did you say goodbye to her?
I didn't see any use. That column of hers is the most important thing in her life. Come on, Leif.
Daily, huh?
Hey, I thought you
Think
were...
the editor will give me a job?
Job? Well, what about that column?
I can write it from here. Call it Country Corner, syndicate it, and split it 50-50.
Better close the deal, son, before she changes her mind.
Hey, young fella.
Wait a minute, Joe.
Well, I told him that Buddy can stunt with one D. Say, ain't that a great photograph of me?
Yep, Joe, that's good enough to put on your billboards when you're running for election.
That's right, it is. But I'm going to tell him how to spell my name.
Now, don't go in there now. They want to be alone.
You think them two are in love?
Can't never tell, Joe. Love is like a raindrop. It's liable to fall on anybody.
That's just what I was thinking. Now, where was I?
You was thinking, Joe.